Yes, thank you, Jay. Anybody else?
Можно мне? Валентина.
Hi, Valentina.
Hi. Ум– это электрохимические связи нейронов мозга, способность объединенных нейронов улавливать и излучать электромагнитные импульсы. Ой, Андрей,
Yes,
переведите, пожалуйста.
thank you. We'll have Andrei translate for you. Thank you.
For me, mind is an
Well,
electrochemical connection between neurons of the brain.
Mechanical connection between the neurons of the brain.
Chemical and electrical connections.
Chemical and electrical connections between the, yeah, okay, very good. All right, well, I'm going to give you, the definition of mind is a work in progress. Let's first start with that. It's there isn't a lot of consensus, but interesting enough, we kind of gravitate to see what neurobiologists have to say on this, since it's their field in some way. And so this is a definition consensus coming out of a recent neurobiology conference. The mind is the process that regulates the flow of energy and information in our bodies. So, first of all, if you notice this, there isn't a particular physicality assigned to the mind, right? It's a process. And it resides, it's open-ended where. But we have sufficient data to say that the mind resides everywhere, and not just confined to the brain. That's for sure. So there's an array of biochemicals and an array of neurotransmitters that are the mediums to transport information along this process, along this body of information and energy. And they travel through the blood, through the neurons and axons in our body. So the platform for the mind is the entire human body. And the scope of reach of the mind is beyond the human body, transcends the human body. So that we have our mind, we call it the small mind, and then the big mind, which is the consciousness itself that exists in the universe, the intelligence aspect. In the tradition of the seers of ancient Mexico, we talk about intent as the intelligence aspect of the universe. So we could extrapolate and speculate or assign this grand mind. So intent can be this grand mind. And then the process inside of us that is in connection to this grand mind would be, one definition of this is the inner seer, the intelligence aspect of our being that is everywhere in our body. In neurobiology, as we have discussed in other classes, we have the field of psychoneuroendocrine immunology, which is the definition of all the bidirectional pathway of information flowing through a whole body all the time through the chemicals. And the mind also includes an aspect that is observing. This is a very pragmatic component. We always want to develop this part of the mind, because the observer, we're going to see there's really some great science coming to open up information on this topic, how the observer is the part of our mind that can actually transform and rewire the brain. And in this platform, we want to highlight some of the understandings and the views from science and how that integrates into perception. So the physical brain is a medium where a lot of the processes of the mind correlate. And so one of the things that I want is for us to do a little exploration of the basic structure of our brains, because we are not going to do a proper anatomy physiology lesson. We can do that, study formally or read in the internet. But I want us to have an experience from the inside. So we're going to do an anatomy lesson by just going in with our consciousness itself into our own brains and get a feeling and get a view from the inside out. So just first, like a very broad, we'll just go 3 aspects of our brain: the brainstem, the limbic system, and the prefrontal cortex. Within the complexities of our brain, I think if we have the awareness of these 3 areas, we have the fundamental pillars that can be useful practically for us to relate to in our daily life. The brainstem, or the reptilian brain, the seat of all our basic functions and our more primordial instincts and ways to react to things. Survival as the primary motivator. Then, in the center of the brain, the limbic system, just the whole universe of how our emotional life, our feelings and emotions, the information comes in and comes out and influences all the other parts of our being. So this has to do with our need to be part, because we are hardwired to be in community. Our biology is not set to be isolated. It's within, it exists and it thrives and evolves within relationships. So, and we'll talk about mirror neurons later in class, which is precisely that part of us wired to copy and emulate what's happening outside. But our need to be included in the tribe, to be seen, to be part of, to feel that we are included and part of something, is fundamentally the driving force for that central part of our brain, the limbic system. And then we have the cortex, the neocortex, all our higher functions, including the definitions that Jay gave in his mind description. And we want to go through that. So the first thing for everybody is I want you to close your eyes. Close your eyes. So sitting in that comfy position with the body resting on your sitting bones, so the least noise. Okay, so let's find the most comfortable sitting position, so you can really open up your perception and your body is not there distracting you. And just take 3 deep breaths where you are. Today we're going to do a variety of different things using consciousness. It's the topic for today. So relax your body as you exhale each time, softening all the muscles of your body. Make sure you also soften your jaw. Release that jaw, let it drop down. And I want to take you to journey into the neurocircuitry of your nervous system. And we're looking at this as a pathway, a system where energy and information is flowing. That's our working definition today. And we're using awareness to make this flow of energy and information go in new ways, in expanded ways. So first, bring your mind to the base of your spine, to your sacrum. And slowly scan upwards, very slowly, and notice how information is coming from all the parts of the body and organs into the brain through that spine. The spinal cord is gathering information, bringing this neural input from your body, from the gut, from your heart, from your limbs, going up the spine. And really use your inner eye in the most expanded way you can to feel this network of information flowing in you. I want you to think of your brain as a social circuitry where all these connections are speaking to each other back and forth. The information travels not only in one direction, but in both. Up and down, in and out. And we get to the brain stem. They are the base of the brain, coming up the spinal cord to the brain stem. And just pause here. So we're going to stay in our brain stem for a moment. Feel that part of you. It's this aspect of you that is, on the one hand, is regulating all your basic functions. How you breathe, how your heart beats, how sounds are filtered from the environment, how sleep and wake cycles regulate. So everything that is happening 24/7 that we don't really think of, it happens automatically. It's regulated here. The state of alertness, so how present we are, also has to do with brainstem area. And then our states of either safety or danger. We all know our fight or flight response. And freeze. So the perception of imminent danger kicks in this area. So then immediately I'm thinking, without realizing, I'm thinking, is this danger something that I'm capable to respond to? And if that's the case, I make an executive decision to either face it and fight, or get the hell out of there and flee. Right? Or if I assess that I'm incapable of dealing with this, then I freeze. That's a third response. So take a moment to just feel these states in you. How do you get triggered? Do you tend to fight? Do you tend to flee? Not deal with things? Do you tend to freeze? What is your most habitual way of responding or reacting to danger, perceived danger for you? And keep in mind that in our modern time, this happens through the perception of social danger. We rarely have situations where our actual physical life is at stake. It's more in interactions in the